Hello everyone. In this video, we will cover the concept of key distribution center, that is nothing but KDC. So what KDC can do? Consider that in our diagram, there are suppose two users. First one is Alice and second one is Bob. If Alice and Bob they want to communicate with each other, then how they are communicating with each other? With the help of KDC, the session key will be generated and the keys will be shared between these two users. So what KDC can do? They can create a session key, that is secret key, between both the users, and they are used for storing the data, storing the keys value in our key distribution center. Now, what is the need of that KDC? Why the KDC will be required? So whenever we are consider the need of that KDC, then we can take these four users. Suppose this is your user number 1, user number 2, user number 3 and user number 4. We have four users and they want to communicate with each other. Then how the keys will be generated? First of all, the key will be generated between 1 and 2, 1 and 3 and 1 and 4. So consider that 1 and 2, 1 and 3 and 1 and 4. These are the three keys will be generated between the first user and second, third and fourth user. Now whenever we will go to the second user, then second and 1, the key is already generated. Then we will look into the 2 and 3 and 2 and 4. So 2 and 3 and 2 and 4. These two keys will be generated for second user and these three keys will be generated for the first user. Now we will look into the third user. So for third user, third and 1 key is already generated. Third and second, this key is already generated. So now we will generate the key that is between third and fourth user. So we got one key. So now how keys will be generated? How many keys will be generated? Total 6 keys will be generated between these four users. Now let's check with the next example. If suppose we have 100 users and for 100 users, how we will generate the keys? We cannot take a group of 1 to 100, then 2 to 100. That's why we are using one formula like n into n minus 1 divided by 2. If suppose 100 users are there, then how the keys will be generated? So 100 into 99 divided by 2. So total 4950 keys will be generated between this 100 users. Now in the given diagram, there are multiple users like Alice, then Anne, then Ted, then Betsy, then George and Bob. And what KDC can do? They can create a session key, that is a secret key between all the users and each members. Suppose Alice wants to communicate with the other users, then first of all they need to generate the keys with Alice and the KDC. So this KDC will create a secret key between this KDC and this all the users. So for example, for Alice, the key is generated like K Alice, then for Anne, the key is generated like KAN, likewise. So for all the users, keys will be generated and that is stored by this key distribution center. And whenever the request will be comes from the other users, then the KDC will inform about the other user's request to that second person. And then our session key between the both users will be generated. For example, we have two users. First of all, Alice and second one is Bob. In that given diagram, we are considering this A as a Alice and the B as a Bob. And whenever they want to create a secret key between the Alice and the Bob, then what is the first step? In the first step, Alice will send a request to the KDC for starting the communication and they want to create a temporary session between Alice and Bob. Then what KDC can do? They can generate the key between A and KDC first of all and they are sending the request and they are sending the message that is KA to the Alice. So our key is generated that is KA, and as well as at the same time they are generating the key for Bob and KB. That key is also shared between B and KDC. Whenever request comes from Alice to the Bob, the KDC will inform to the Bob they have to communicate with the Alice. If Bob, that is B, agrees on the request of the Alice, then that time the key will be generated that is KAB. That is called as symmetric key, and that is shared between this A and B. So these are the three steps are involved whenever we are creating a secret key between Alice and Bob. So what are the steps? Let's revise. First of all, Alice will send a request to the KDC. They have to create a temporary session secret key between herself and the Bob. And now KDC will inform to the Bob about the Alice request, and whenever request will be accepted, the Bob will agree to the request. Then the session key will be generated between the both the user, that is KAB. That is the method of that key distribution center. In the given diagram, this is our first approach. We are using the secret key between the users and our KDC. So first of all, consider that term that is KA is nothing but the encrypted key with the Alice and the KDC. KB is the key that is encrypted with the Bob and KDC's secret key. KDC is nothing but our key distribution center, and this is the key that is session key between the Alice and the Bob. So now let's check. We have two users. First of all, Alice, and second one is Bob. And there is one KDC, that is key distribution center. What is the first step? In the first step, Alice will send the user 1 and user 2, that is Alice, comma Bob, to the key distribution center. Whenever key distribution center will receive that message, that time they are sending user number 1, user number 2, and the secret key, that is the session key between the Alice and Bob, that is encrypted with the key of that Bob. And that is our session key that is encrypted with the Bob and KDC secret key. Again, that the whole key will be encrypted with the Alice key, and that key will be shared between KDC and Alice, and that message is sent from KDC to Alice. Whenever Alice receives that message, then Alice will send the message like Alice, that is user number 1, user number 2, and the secret key, that is the session key between the Alice and the Bob, and that data will be encrypted with the help of Bob key, and that will be sent to the Bob. So this is the approach for creating the session key, that is the secret key between both the users. In this video, we have covered the concept of key distribution centers and how the keys will be generated between both the users.